Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. You have arrived to the conversation that'll end all conversations. The SoulCast with your host, Woody Wood. And now, without further ado, let's get in that crazy head. Here's your host, Woody Wood.
What's going down, Charlie Browns? I am here today with Adrian Estrada, who is the proprietor of the Loft in Augusta. And it used to be Jay's Music, that building, way back in the day.
Way back.
Yeah. So when did you open the Loft up?
Actually, I acquired that building in July of 2007.
Oh, wow. Damn, it's been that long already? Time flies.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Came down and our opening date was July 2008.
Right.
When we actually got down here, it's actually a crazy story. I came to Augusta by accident. I came to party with Dickie.
Right.
And I never left. Excuse me. Yeah, I came down here and I used to work for Metro PCS. I was a design and optimization engineer for the wireless companies. And had a little snafu. They bought out my contract and I went on vacation for 3 months.
Right. Little mini retirement.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. And traveled to Augusta to, Dick and I used to live together in Atlanta when he lived down there. And came down here to visit him and just hang out and drink with my old friend. And he's like, I heard you're looking to open a bar in Atlanta. I was like, yeah, I'm going to open a bar, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. He goes, well, what about here? I said, what about here? And we went looking down to Broad Street and we found Jay's Music and talked to the lady. And it was a Saturday that I was down here. I signed the lease on Sunday.
Oh, shit. So It was like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, and I said, we'll do it. And he's like, are you serious? I said, well, we just signed the lease. Signed it for a 2-year lease. So, and I went back home, packed, moved down here. It's been an interesting ride.
Right on.
To say the least.
That's crazy. And now you're here. You had to do a lot of renovations to the building, or not much? The whole floor has been redone. A lot of the ceiling's been done. The roof's been done. Fortunately, Vera actually worked with us very well. Just to get the building to code was just a disaster in itself. Yeah, a lot of these old buildings down here have, a lot of upgrades they need, especially with wiring and stuff like that. Was that kind of some of the issue?
Well, wiring, plumbing, we still got it all. I mean, it's still all there, which is ironic to our logo. Everybody's, they wonder why I got the flames on the bar and, why the Loft logo has the flames. Well, when we got down here, we were looking for a place. Every place that we looked at, the lofts, apartments have been on fire once or twice.
Right.
Buildings were always on fire. Well, it just happens to be at Jay's Music, when we were trying to get it to code, we found out that the whole second floor was on fire. That's why it's condemned, the top part of the floor. It looks 2-story, but it's a single-story. It's a single floor because the top of it's all burned down.
I was wondering about that.
So they dropped that falsetto ceiling. They put everything on there and they covered it up. And there's still bricks. There's still a chimney up there. Right. There's an elevator chute. There's all kinds of stuff that, it's still up there. But they secured it and they locked it all off and they said that we could never do anything with it. So ironically, that's what became our logo. It was a joke. We said, well, they're locked. Because what I originally wanted to do was have a bar on the second story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to have it on the second story so that we could actually, to overlook. I wanted to have, a back patio that people could overlook. But unfortunately, here in Augusta, unless it's an apartment, you really don't have that.
Yeah.
So everything was on fire. So that became the Loft logo. It became our little joke for ourselves. It was more for me, Dickie, and when I came down here, I came down with a buddy of mine, Sean, which unfortunately is no longer with us. He was murdered. But, but that's another story in itself. But we came down there, we designed the logo, and that's how it's been since.
So how did you and Dickie know each other?
Dickie and I met through an ex-girlfriend of mine in Atlanta, probably about 12 years ago. And Dickie gets mad at me because I blame him for everything. When I met Dickie, I had a career, a memory. I didn't drink, and I had an awesome job. Now I'm a bar owner, and I party all the time, and I just blame him for it. Yeah, it's best that way.
You're the reason that I took that right turn in Albuquerque.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I like to consider him like Route 66. You just never know what you're going to end up.
Right.
Never know what you're going to find. You just blow down the road like a tumbleweed.
Just keep on going. So, so Dickie's like, he helps run the place, right?
Yeah.
And like, what's the craziest incident that you've had in the bar? Because I know that sometimes this gets crazy down there. It's like, because you kind of draw a younger crowd, it seems like. To me, anyway. Yeah,
I mean, we've had some that, man, I don't know, man. That's a tough question there. Because, finally we're building a reputation with the law for it's not, everybody, because I ride with a motorcycle club and all the bikes that were out there. When I first opened it, I had customized choppers inside of it.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool, too.
Everybody automatically thought it was a biker bar.
Right.
But it's not what I was going for. I was born and raised in Texas. I worked on Austin 6th Street, lived in San Antonio, lived in Dallas. Basically, I took everywhere I worked and every bar that I worked, and I put a little bit of something in it just to make my own bar.
Right.
If you go to Texas, my bar, a lot of people who come from Texas, they're like, this reminds me back at home. Well, because a lot of it. But I used local people to help me get to where I needed to be.
Right.
Like my bar, all my furniture, a lot of it, Daniel Foreman. As impossible it is to work with him sometimes, he's he's an awesome artist. He's great at what he does. He just takes forever, and it's a wrestling match to work with him at times. But he's an artist. You just can't. It's kind of you take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Well, I definitely know how that is, because I think artists in general are scatterbrain type folks. At least I am, and most of the artists that I know, they're like, yeah, organization isn't my key point.
Yeah.
But so I know that you do a lot of DJs down there. And are you doing live music still, or
we still do live music every Friday?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like the DJ stuff, we're down to like DJ Richie Rich, and what I try to develop was I was looking for a local DJ to play every night, just kind of make it his own.
Right.
DJ Richie Rich has been the most consistent. He's great at what he does.
Well, he's been doing it a while.
Oh yeah, and honestly, he's unfortunately because of Augusta and the way we kind of I love Augusta because of the artists, but at the same time, there's a lot of closed-mindedness here. Mm-hmm. We're still living in old school ways of certain things, and DJ Richie Rich, he should be so farther along. He's a great DJ, and and a lot of it is that I guess it's hard to. I mean, you should know as an artist, it's real hard to expand and move on from here. I mean, if you're lucky, you hit it big and then you're gone. Some of our best, Michael Bateman, one of the best guitarists I've ever seen. There's so much talent, so much going on in Augusta that I think that people get lost in it, and that's why they never go on. But, DJ Rich, as far as on Saturdays, it's his show. He does what he wants to do. I let him do what he needs to do, and he's great at it. He's, I wish
ambiance engineer.
Yeah, and he does. He knows how to play the crowd, and, that's more important to me.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to go to repair some of the reputation, like you're saying. What's the craziest thing that's happened in my bar? Honestly, take a pick. I've had a 50-person brawl that cleared not only my bar but cleared the streets. We had, it was the first and biggest, and it was one of our good friends' wedding day. It was like his dance. They all came over, and the wedding party, everybody was in it. The groom handled himself. He took care of business, and it's like, one of the craziest things that's happened in the bar. That was that biggest fight. But then again, we had a stabbing, unfortunately. Underage kid who just was on drugs, unfortunately, and took a stabbing to two of my employees and a patron. And we had that sexual assault in the bathroom by some Mississippi cop. That were down here in reserves, and it never proved to be anything else, but it hurt a man's career. We've had some very bad situations. Unfortunately, it makes the news.
Yeah.
And it clouds, and everybody looks at it as downtown being this. But, there's so many things that go on everywhere else that, people, unfortunately, remember the bad more than they do good.
That's all they want to focus on anyway. Like, my mom lives up in Lincolnton, and she's always calling me and worried and stuff. I heard there was this happened and this happened. And I'm like, Mom, it's not. Yeah, don't listen to the news, man, because that's something that I try to talk about, because my experience with downtown has always been a pleasant experience. I mean, you're going to have incidences, especially whenever you have people that come out that aren't usually, because a lot of times we have First Friday, you'll have amateurs come out that don't always go out and drink, so they kind of get a little rowdy, and maybe they don't know the proper etiquette or whatever. But for the most part, I've had a positive experience, and the news loves to just harp on all the negative crap that's going on, and then if we have something positive that's going on downtown, they'll mention it for like a minute and then that's it.
Sure.
So how have you liked Augusta so far? Because I know Coco talks about how it's cheaper living here, and he enjoys having a business here so that he can travel from this base point because it's so cheap to live here.
Aside from being able to, like you said, the cheaper living, the lower cost of living out here, I love it. I mean, really, I hear it all the time, how I hate Disgusta, how I hate Augusta. I need to get out. I'm going to this, I'm going to that.
The black hole.
The bottom line is, and I hope I can say this freely, but if you're going to bitch about it, do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I tell people, be the change you want to see in the town.
That's right.
If you're not going to contribute to the change, let's shut the hell up.
Yep.
I mean, because really, it's easy to make that comment and say, I'm going to leave and all that. And I hear it all the time, especially the younger generation. You barely got out of high school.
Yeah.
What the hell do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You say you grew up in Augusta. I've been fortunate. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I'm 1,900 and change away from home, and I'll never go back home.
Right.
I've lived in 7 different cities. I've traveled around the world with the military. Man, I'm here for a reason. There's no traffic. Every town has its assholes.
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell people.
You just got to be able to make the best out of life. And like, we were discussing it earlier. If you plan to live your life and you're gonna judge the quality of life behind a wallet, then you got a lot of growing to do. Because some of the poorest people that I know, people that make it day to day, are some of the happiest people I've ever seen in my life. I used to make a lot of money. I used to make 6 figures, hands down. It was easy. At one point in time in my life, I was a billionaire. I don't care to ever be. I don't need it. I don't want it. My life, the way I live it now, and the group of friends that I got with me, I wouldn't trade for the world. So that's just the way I think.
That's the way that I'm on the same exact page with you. And, it's like I've traveled a lot, and my experience with other music scenes in particular, because that's what I do. I can try to inject myself into the scenes. We have a beautiful scene. We have a beautiful artist. Nobody really talks shit about each other. We have a few people that might say, but they're usually the younger cats that hadn't really paid their dues or whatever. And for me, I've always loved Augusta because of that fucking river right there. That river is incredible and it's powerful. And we have a ford that runs from the old lock and dam to almost to the Riverwalk, to where it's a rocky ford to where you can almost walk across to the South Carolina side if the water's low enough. And so I've always been drawn to the river. And I've been a lot of places, and Washington State was awesome. I just came from there recently, and looking around at the mountains, and it's awesome. But I've always had there's a sense of energy in this area right here. It feels like old Athens, like Athens, Georgia, way back before REM blew up.
Right.
But and I also like that there's a lot of independent businesses down here. You got Matt and Barry and Coco and you and you got the Frog Hollow and Craft and Vine and Farmhouse and Pete's Joint. I noticed that they got the Metro PCS or PCS. It's because you said that earlier. No, but they got a little Metro store opening up down there beside Silla Cafe, right beside the Commons, and they redid the whole building. And so down like a good ways down the side of that building, where usually there would be vendors set up, for the events or whatever in the Commons. Now they're not going to be able to really set up right there because of the windows and everything in that business. But they're owned by the Sprint stores, so that's a franchise, and then Mello's a franchise. So franchises are coming down here. I guess the corporations are trying to get in on it, but they it's kind of odd, our situation here, because like you said, I hear that too, disgusta and that and blah blah blah, but really I think that no matter where you're at, it's just like you said, the people that you surround yourself with is what matters. Definitely. Because you can be in the most fucked up place in the world, and if you have good people around you, then you're okay.
Oh, most definitely. And one of the biggest things that like right now, like we were talking about, the craziest things and what gets reported and what people overlook. Excuse me. I understand that, on First Friday it is rookie night. But a lot of the kids that are causing the crime are underage.
Yeah. They're out on the street.
We can blame Richmond County, but their hands are tied. And, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of Richmond County sheriffs.
I think the sheriff's having
But they're doing a great job. I mean, I'm not going to... Look, I give credit. Yes. I give credit where credit's due. I understand. I ride with a motorcycle club, and everybody loves to say gang.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is, But Richmond County is doing the best that they can do. What we're not focusing on is parents who have these underage kids out here starting shit. Nobody focuses on the parents. They focus on, the dangers of how crazy downtown is. People don't realize, Whiskey Bar and Kitchen was ranked number 2 in the whiskey bars in the Southeast. Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Yes.
We got Craft and Vine and Frog Hollow. Granted, who cares where their backing is? They chose downtown Augusta.
Yep. And Frog Hollow was on a list of like an international list of places that you'd never heard of that you need to try.
Oh, definitely.
It's crazy.
And what people don't realize, Coco right now, what he's doing for the music scene right now, the bands that he's bringing down, it's awesome. It's phenomenal. I go there and I support, some of the bands and the music I don't even listen to. Dickie or somebody will be like, hey, let's go to this concert. It's real good. Well, what kind of music is it?
Right.
And, they'll say, well, it's kind of like this or that. And I'm like, I'll go. I don't care.
Right.
They're like, well, it's $10, $15. Well, how do you think they get paid?
Yeah. Well, that aggravates the crap out of me, because me being a musician and me going and patronizing the bars downtown often, if I'm walking in and there's a band and there's a cover, I don't expect to get in free, but a lot of people do when they play music. And I'm like, are you serious? I don't care, dude. It's like you're supposed to support the artist because you are an artist. How would you feel if you were on stage and I came in and was like, I don't have to pay. I'm Woody, I'll come in. So I was at Sky City last night watching the Brothers Comatose, which was an excellent show. Shout out to the Brothers Comatose. And you're right, though. He brings in a lot of diversity as far as the music goes.
Oh, extremely.
And I really enjoy that, because I hate a music venue that only caters to one genre of music.
Right.
And then, like, speaking, I have Michael Bateman and Philip Lee on the 4th episode a couple of weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about the Blue Mondays. Remember when you were doing Blue Mondays?
Yes.
Man, those were some awesome nights. It's just like you have those moments in time where everything just comes together, and you have a beautiful, time with, like, whenever Coco was doing the Wednesday night prayer meetings at the Soul Bar way back, and it was jazz every Wednesday night. And no matter no matter what I had going on, I knew that Wednesday night was going to be awesome because I'd go down there and listen to jazz, you know, and I'm a real big jazz fan. And the Loft with Happy Bones has played there a few times, and then we actually premiered the Tommy O.D. and the Survivors thing there, which was a lot of fun because that was the first time that I'd ever like opened for myself. You know, because
that'd be pretty cool.
Because I was like, all right, Tommy O.D. and the Survivors, Happy Bones. It's pretty much the same people, but it's totally different music. I was like, we'll open for ourselves. But I always enjoyed playing there. I like the way that you got the stage set up right there in the middle so that you can pretty much see it anywhere in the bar, you know, and that's pretty fucking awesome. Did you set it up like that on purpose?
Actually, yeah. There was a bar in 6th Street. It was called the Blue Mule, which is no longer there. But which is funny because a major corporation bought that building out, so they had to leave. They had the stage in the middle, and they didn't have it extremely raised. I saw 2 shows there, and one was a punk rock, and one was a straight up blues. It was such an intimate show because everybody was in everybody's face. The musicians loved it. It was kind of similarly styled, but it was just in your face all the time. Everybody had a great time. And no matter where you were in that bar, you felt like you were part of it.
Right.
And that's why I built it that way. And even there's a certain separation. Even when the band's playing, the people can play pool. Yeah. Because usually pool halls are quiet, you know, blah, blah, or they have that, you know, they have their overhead music and, you know, it is what it is. Well, I wanted to be a bar. I just happen to be able to get more pool tables in than most. But the fact that you can be part of it and in your face and right by the bar, I just think that means a lot because I like it when the lead singer of the band is singing and they walk off a stage, go grab a beer, and they walk right back up.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I mean? Uh-huh. They're not sitting at the back of the building and, you know, somebody's got to bring them a shot 20 minutes later after they request it. Mm-hmm. This way, the lead singer of the band can just walk off the stage, grab himself a beer, walk back up. People, they enjoy that, you know? And I'm keeping live music, and I have, you know, I do have a wide genre of music that plays there. Mm-hmm. And I do have certain bands that do repeat themselves that come through. You know, I got R&B like Tony Williams and Augusta's Most Wanted and Stereotype. And then I have the punk rock, like, you know, the Bastard Sons.
Yeah, I love the Bastard Sons.
Yeah, they're a phenomenal band. Uh-huh. And, you know, unfortunately, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep them because they're about to hit big.
Oh, yeah. They're road dogs, and they deserve that shit.
Well, they just filmed a video in California with an Emmy Award-winning freaking director out there, and they did 3 days of filming for one video.
Oh, hell yeah.
One song, one video, 3 days. So somebody who's going to take that time with them in California, you know what? I wish them the best of luck.
Right, and Adrian's like, man, I can't afford you. No.
Well, we have a gentleman's agreement, and you know what? I've known them for about 12, 13 years now. And, you know, we've never gone back on each other's word. I brought them to Augusta. You know, and they worked with me, and I worked with them, and they've had some changes. We've had some changes, but for the most part, you know, I think they'll do what's right. You know,
guys, you got to look up the Bastard Sons, and Sons is spelled like son.
Yeah, S-U-N-S.
Yeah, they are definitely something to check out, man. I got their albums, and I rock them out whenever I feel like getting some rage out.
Oh yeah, they're just, you know, they're a very uplifting band. You listen to them, and you know, it's like they write their own music. They're all originals. Well. They have some covers. And, you know, they did the Allman Brothers, the Soulshine.
Yeah.
Love that song. When I'm feeling down or
They do it good, too.
Oh, yeah. And you know, and I feel like I just got to get, like you said, I got to get that blood flowing. Love that song. Uh-huh. You know, they got a new album out, too, and everything. And it's great, you know. And I appreciate their music, and I appreciate the support they get. You know, we had the Psycho DeVilles. I've had the Independents down here. Mm-hmm. You know, unfortunately, I won't do it again.
All right.
It just, you know, to me, if anything I like to say about myself is I'm honest.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you how it is.
That's what's up.
And if you're coming to my bar trying to tell me how to do it in my bar, I'm sorry.
Kind of fucking up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And if you're going to come in and tell me how you think it should work, I'm open-minded enough to listen to your ideas. But I'm not going to let you dictate my bar because I don't care if you've been around for 20 years.
Right.
You know, I've been alive for 42 years, but it doesn't give me the right to tell you how to do things in your own home.
Right.
So, and that's just the way I look at it. You know, I'm a true believer in respect and protect downtown.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, I don't expect anybody else to come in and do the same to anybody else downtown because, like you said, you know, you brought up Coco and Matt and them. Coco's a staple downtown. Mm-hmm. What he's done for downtown Augusta, nobody could ever thank him enough.
Yep.
You know, his brother Jason runs a soul bar. You know, talking to Jason, talking to Matt Flynn, you know, there's Kenny and Bobby Morrison, you know, even Ryan Godowns at 1102, Josh Williamson at, you know, the Firehouse. The Firehouse is the perfect bar.
Oh, yeah. I love the Firehouse.
I'm going to be honest. Yep. The perfect bar downtown is the Firehouse.
That's probably the one I spend my most time sitting at the bar.
Oh, yeah. You know, Joe's Underground was a great idea. He went through some changes, and I hope it comes back. You know what I mean? It's a staple bar downtown.
Well, what I loved about it was they had music every night. At one point, they had music every night. And that was just so beautiful because there's 4 blocks from my house. I could just walk down there, and I knew I would see live music every night. And that's really rare during the week in Augusta.
Especially.
You know. But it goes back to, you know, if we can rally up and doing things like the podcast and stuff like that, and because eventually what I want to do is I want to get out into the street, like say close to closing on a Saturday night. I walk around, you know, with a microphone, and I actually talk to people on the streets, and then they can see 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not that, you know, there's not crazy going down here, you know, but most of the time I want to try to focus on the camaraderie we have down here, because I think that's the cool thing is like all you guys that own businesses down here, y'all kind of lift each other up. Y'all don't beat each other down or try to, you know, talk shit about everybody, you know, and at one point the Fox's Lair and Joe's Underground was about the only bars down here. I mean, you had the strip clubs, but I mean...
Yeah, of course. They're just, you know, it's a selected fund there. But, you know, for the most part, and my whole goal eventually is I'd like to see all of Augusta get along. Not just downtown, but all the way up Washington Road. Yeah. This whole thing with the Masters, I would love people to come down. Give them more of an opportunity and more options than just Hooters. Yeah. You know, it's, okay, I get it. Chicks and boobs. Yeah. Cool. With a now. I got it.
Yeah. Bringing bitches in from out of town.
Yeah, but unfortunately, your food sucks.
Yeah, yes, it does.
9 out of 10 times, your food sucks. You know, I might get a good meal there. I'm not saying anything against the people who work there, but it's just, there's so much more to Augusta than Washington Road. You know, a new bar opened up, the Hideout, down there in, right behind Starbucks. A friend of mine, Alex, we've become good friends. You know, there's Alley Cats with Brian that, you know,
Dollar Drafts.
Oh, definitely. I go to their bars. I support their bars. And when they get time off, they come and support ours downtown. My whole thing is I want to bridge the gap. You know, it's not about who's better at this. As long as we're building and we're sharing and everybody's having a good time, we can all prosper from it, man. I mean, and that was one of the biggest things. Like when I found out that, you know, the commissioners dropped the ball as far as being open on St. Patrick's Day Sunday, you know, on the weekend, stuff like that. You know, everybody in the county signed it, but our commissioners couldn't come together. Because, I mean, unfortunately, their heads are up their ass. They're split between race, not between policy.
And that's been that way for way fucking too long.
Yeah, and they need to change that. Because the bottom line is, it's like, if we're going to keep on running this county and a city on race, we're never going to get anywhere.
No. We'll be at the same spot we were 5 years from now. Right now, we're not going to get anywhere, and it's been that way for so long that it feels like we've been at a standstill for a while.
Right, you know, like that baseball stadium. I mean, there's just so many things. You know,
I mean, the golf and gardens over there, just sitting there. Yes. Just, I mean, and honestly, people, I know that it's probably not the best thing to do, but I have trespassed on that land, and it is beautiful. And it's just sitting there rotting away. And there's infrastructure there. I mean, something could be used for it. We could have parties there, outdoor concerts, whatever. But you know, they built the T Center, and they've been doing a few things over there. But I'm like, if you're not utilizing the James Brown Arena as much as you could, And so I know Spectrum kind of stepped in, and they're building things up because Zach Brown came and sold the arena out, so it's getting better. But new management in town, but Global Spectrum, that's what it is. And but I love the Bell Auditorium. I love Imperial. I want something to happen with the Miller Theater, and the Symphony owns the Miller now. And hopefully something will happen with it. I think the Symphony owns the Golf Gardens. I think they bought that property. I'm not sure, but I like that idea though because they did the party down here on Wednesday, and they were going to do it in the Commons, I think, but since it was raining or something happened, it was Tuesday. I can't remember. Anyway, they moved the party over to the Board of Education parking deck. Okay. Because it was rainy or something like that. And I heard it didn't go over that well. Like it was not the...
Well, I mean, they've canceled a lot of stuff downtown. A lot of people, for some reason or other, downtown's gotten some negative outlooks. And, I realize the crime. There's crime everywhere. Mm-hmm. They said about a shooting. They said about, those two guys that, I don't know, went across the river. One got shot. Chasing. Yeah, the chasing up. You can't control everybody. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Those people are down there. Some of the clubs, yes. Do we care for certain clubs that bring a lot of trouble? No, we don't. We can't control that. We can do our best to contain it, but it's just like everything else. There's been a shooting and a murder in every county. There's been all kinds of theft by taking, blah, blah, blah. I mean, are we going to just stay home?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't, But to label, because it's downtown, I'm not going down there. I understand police presence has been rough, Operation Thunder and all that. Hell, I'm not going to say I was a victim to it. I got caught. It is what it is. But when we let people define how we live, the fault is our own. I mean, we got to let people know that, hey, look, we're here to, come downtown. Find out for yourself. Don't listen to the news.
Right.
Don't read the paper. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're going to do that, that's fine. But develop your own opinion.
Well, that takes us full circle because I was sitting in Joe's Underground a couple of weeks ago, and I had just done the second episode with Joe Stevenson and Stuart Rayburn. Stuart Rayburn does the downtown walking map, the little map that shows what everything is. Well, I was sitting in Joe's Underground, and this guy, I'm sitting there talking to Vic, and we're, back and forth. I'm talking about the podcast. I'm excited. This guy chimes in. He's like, that walking map, I'm going to tell you what the problem with that walking map is, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what's funny? I was like, no offense, man, but it's real funny that people that aren't doing anything tries to tell the motherfuckers that are doing something how they're doing it wrong. And I'm like, you should probably just make your own walking map if you think you could do better. I mean, what the fuck,
Nobody says you have to follow it.
Right. And exactly. And so he gets up and walks out, and I was like, Vic, I think I ran that dude out. And he's like, yeah, but you were right. But, let's talk about motorcycles. How long you been riding?
Oh, God. Since I was about 16.
Right on. And did you start on street bikes, or did you ever ride dirt bikes, anything like that?
I rode, actually, never really rode dirt bikes. It was more like back in our day, we had three-wheelers.
Right, yeah.
We didn't have the cool quads. Uh-huh. We had the three-wheelers
that flipped every fucking time you
went. It taught you how to be careful.
That's right.
After a couple broken arms, you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
But I learned on three-wheelers, and then actually my first bike was a Honda. I wish I still had that bike because I'd make it a cafe racer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually my grandfather's bike, and they said it didn't work. And
the cafes are real popular right now, too.
Yeah. And then this bike was a 600, and it was the most hideous thing you've ever seen in your life. It used to shoot oil out of the side and everything else, but it got me to school. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool. I actually owned a moped at one time. People don't even know what a moped is.
The pedal one?
You got to pedal it to get the engine started. Yeah.
Yep.
The old Flintstone style. Yeah, I owned a moped at one time. And then,
wow.
I bought my first Harley probably at I think I just got back from Desert Storm. I bought it about 6 months later. I bought me a Harley and been on Harley since.
And what you got what kind you got?
I got a Road Glide.
And how long have you done a butt buster? Like how long of a stretch have you ran in one ride?
Well, I've actually driven from here to El Paso like 3 or 4 times on my bike.
Oh, right on.
I've been from here to Virginia, from here to Chicago. I think one of the hardest ones was when we went to, I rode from here to Chicago and back in 2 days.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we were on the road pretty much most of the time. We went down there, had a good time, but yeah, I love riding. I got no problems with it.
Me too. I started when I was 5, man. My dad, I was like, man, I want a motorcycle. And I'd been talking about it since I was 4 or some shit. Like, I think it was the first thing I started talking about. And my dad was like, damn, he really wants a motorcycle. And my dad rode. He rode with the Steel Stallions back in the day in the early 90s, late 80s. But he's one of those guys that when in his younger days, you know, he built custom choppers and shit like that, and he would always ride Harleys, and he was diehard Harley. And whenever years later, when I bought my first street bike, I bought a Vulcan, Kawasaki Vulcan, which is, you know, I can't blame Harley because they kind of sold the design rights, copyrights or whatever to Japan, and they made a different version of the V-twin motor, and it looks badass. It looks like a Harley almost if you don't know any better. But the thing was it was a badass bike, and my dad rode it, right? And he's like, man, I like that thing. I want me one of them things. And so now he's in his older age. He's like, I don't give a damn if it's got 2 wheels. I'm gonna ride it, you know.
Oh, but definitely.
We were big dirt bike people when we were growing up, and my dad bought me a YZ80, Yamaha YZ80, when I was 5 years old. I had just turned 5 in November, and that December he got it for me for Christmas. And he had it in the living room, revving the engine up in the living room, and I woke up and I ran in there, and dude, I got saucer eyes. I was like, whoa! I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to eat dinner. I didn't care about breakfast. All I wanted to do was ride that motorcycle every day, all the damn time. My mom was going broke buying gasoline for it. But it's really therapeutic, you know. I love getting on. There's no better feeling than that. It's like real freedom. I mean, do you feel that way when you're on the bike?
Yeah, I call it the wind therapy, man. You know, if I'm feeling down, if I'm happy, it don't matter where I'm at, what state of mind I'm at. If I get on that bike, nothing else matters. I'm
in the market for another bike right now. So listen, people, if you got a real good deal on a bike, call me, okay? But yeah, I just busted my ass for Masters. Worked with Tracer Audio. I shout out to Tracer, and got me a little chunk of change. So I'm gonna try to get back on 2 wheels. Because, you know, I had my fire, not this past February, but the February before, and lost everything. And so I decided I was going to close out my bank account and go across country. And so I sold the bike, and I bought a camper van. But whenever I got back to, and I was planning on staying in Washington, but my mom had a stroke, so I came back. And so it's hard, especially right now with the weather being the way it is, and you see everybody out on their bikes, you know, and I'm like, oh man. But whenever I was riding, I only had a bike, didn't have a car, and if it was 12 degrees outside, I was on that bike. And I would wrap myself up pretty good, but I mean, there's only so much that you could do to keep that cold air out, you know.
Yeah, there's you know, that's one thing about Harley. They engineer their clothes for riding, so you can get some stuff out there that, you know, of course, a couple of my club brothers, they're spoiled. They got the heated jackets and stuff like that. Yeah. They got the heated suits. But, man, I can't blame them. Because there's certain days we get on that bike and I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah. I've gotten off the bike and had, like, ice crystals in my beard and shit.
Yeah. Where you just get off and you're like, you know, you feel like that cardboard you're unfolding. You're just like, golly, your legs are stiff. Your knees, your joints are locked up. Mm-hmm. Your hands you can barely feel. You walk in and it's like, you know, you keep your clothes on for another 30 minutes just to try to warm up. Those are good old days.
Yeah, and not to mention it takes you 30 minutes to get ready to get on the motorcycle. You know,
by the time you got
all this shit.
Well, it's a double-edged sword because while you're putting all your crap on, you're sweating a storm.
Yeah.
So you're hot as hell. You start sweating, and then you get on the bike, and all that sweat turns into cold. And you're just like, God, why can't I just put it on, get on, and just not sweat?
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, that's some of the things that, the growing pains, or like when it rains. I can't even begin to tell you how many times. I mean, last year I think I rode more in the rain than I did in a sunny day.
Well, it rained like every freaking day for 2 months almost last year. It was crazy.
Yeah, and people would tell me, like, why do you ride your bike? Well, I bought it.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Sit in the
that's what you're supposed to do.
Let that be a lesson to you fair weather riders. We're real motherfuckers, okay?
And I just couldn't do it.
Well, I can't wait to get back on the road. And I also love riding in a group. You know what's crazy to me? How about they outlawed riding tandem in Georgia, right?
Right.
But the cops still do it.
We still do it.
I still do it, but I mean, if that's the reason why I still do it, because I see the cops doing it, and I'm like,
we do it all the time. In the motorcycle world, I guess we call it riding outlaw. The cops like to call it riding tandem.
Yeah,
they ride tandem. We ride outlaw.
Right.
I mean, we still ride that way. I mean, our whole group rides that way. We love riding. A lot of people see us out there. A lot of people don't care too much for us sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all in groups. We all have a good time. We all celebrate and party differently, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I grew up. I mean, some of my youngest memories were at biker parties. My dad was a sergeant of arms in Steel Stallions, and he always rode, but most of the time he rode independent. But he got into Steel Stallions there for a little while. And we were always doing charities and having a good time and always having parties and live bands and, just raging all the time and really down to earth, honest, good people. And what's crazy about it is that people that look at the bikers like, oh my God, they're coming. They don't realize that those people are some of the nicest people you ever fucking meet in your life. And it's been that way through my whole life growing up. I've never ridden with a club. And, I'm not against riding with a club because I think it'd be fun. But it's just, I don't mind riding with a club independent,
Right.
But, I mean, I didn't follow in the same exact footsteps as my dad. My dad went after it, he lived that lifestyle, And me being a musician, I kind of ride the fence a little bit,
Yeah, it's the way I tell everybody, it's to each his own, of course, Steel Stallions, well, they're no longer around, but they're, more South Carolina. Us, the Steel Horsemen, we're here in Georgia. And, like I tell everybody, it's not for everyone. I don't fault somebody for not doing something because, you know what? I didn't learn to play the guitar. I didn't learn to become a professional swimmer. It's a lifestyle you want to lead.
Right.
To me, it's been a part of my life growing up. Mm-hmm. I was surrounded by it. It's kind of crazy because my dad doesn't ride. My uncle rode a little bit. The decisions I made as a grown man and the kind of lifestyle I wanted to lead, I do have a college degree. Yes, I've studied. I did everything I had to do. I did the corporate way of life. I've been married. I did everything. This was just the lifestyle that fit me the most. Do I expect everybody to understand it? No. But do I want to impose my views and values on somebody else? No.
Right.
I think everybody should have their own decision. I just
respect.
Mm-hmm. That's
the
main
line.
word. Mm-hmm. Any way you look at it, doesn't matter what club colors you wear or whatever it is, and people want to call it a gang and this and that separates us. I mean, cops do this exact same thing that we do, but we're looked at differently because of who we are. Fine, whatever. I mean, you gotta have something to do. That's the way
if you want to talk about gangs, I think the police force is probably the biggest gang in America.
Oh, they are. They are. But you know what? It's like every industry, every race, every group has their assholes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't get past that.
Nope.
It's what makes the world go around. People say, love and peace make the world go around. No, bullshit. It's assholes.
Well, we need them, too, because we learn from them.
If you didn't have an asshole, you wouldn't know what peace and love is.
Right.
That's the bottom line. You can't love somebody without knowing how to dislike somebody. Mm-hmm. It's a fact. As far as, like, the riding and stuff, I have a good time, And like I tell people, everybody's like, wow, the Loft is a biker bar. It's run by a biker gang. No, it's not. My business is my business. That's how I make my bread and butter. That's why Dickie runs my business. Mm-hmm. I got a business partner. They overlook everything that goes on. I got no secrets. It is what it is. Like I got told one time by a Richmond County officer, one day we're going to talk. Let's talk now.
Right.
Well, I'm not working. Well, that's the difference between you and me. I'm dressed like this. I live this.
Right.
I don't work it. Mm-hmm. So when you want to talk, make sure you have a reason to talk to me now.
Yeah.
Because you're either my friend or you're my foe.
Right.
It's simple. And if you're neither, then I just crossed you in the street. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to dislike you or like you, but don't be a hypocrite to what you stand for.
Absolutely.
And I'm a firm believer in that. Just be who you are.
Right.
And if you're a cop and you're always going to be a cop and you're good at it, hey, more power to you. I got great friends who are cops. Mm-hmm. They don't understand why I'm in a motorcycle club. I don't understand how they became a cop.
Yeah.
So it's fair, So we respect each other.
Let's just agree to disagree. It's okay. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the good cops to arrest the bad cops. Oh, definitely. I know there are really good cops that get into that line of work because they want to help people.
Right.
But, there's a lot of them right now that, it's kind of getting out of hand because they're power tripping. And, you need to be a little bit more sensitive because before you're a cop and before, you're a motorcycle rider and before I'm a musician, we're all humans. Right. And we deserve respect, And one thing that blows my mind is that they don't have better sensitivity training. Like maybe, keep it in your mind that whoever you're dealing with someone's son, someone's brother, someone's father, someone's mother, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're having a bad moment maybe, and they're making a mistake maybe. If they're putting somebody's life in danger, by all means, straighten them out. But I really have a difficulty with victimless crimes. Like if I'm working 40 hours a week, or if I'm not, whatever I'm doing to contribute to society, which I do, and I get home in the evening, if I'm wanting to do something that's only going to affect this vessel, then I don't feel like anybody should step in. That's the same way I feel with the helmet laws. I hate helmet laws, man. Yeah. I ride with a helmet, but it's by choice most of the time. If I ride without my helmet, it's because I choose to not ride with my helmet. I choose not to ride with my seatbelt on. How are you going to tell me, a grown adult, that I can't do that? I don't get it.
Yeah, the way I guess I look at it is that, especially when you read about helmet laws or you read about this or, you hear people saying, this guy murdered so-and-so, but he was such a nice guy. I can't believe he did that. The way I look at it, we all have an opinion. Mm-hmm. And we all have our side of a story. And we're all a product of our raising. Any way you want to look at it. Do we change? Do we make our choices on how we're going to decide to live life? Yes. Are some of them good? Yes. Are some of them bad? Definitely. The way I look at, it's just my personal opinion, the way I look at it, I don't mind everybody having your opinion. But when you start voicing it as fact,
yeah,
when you got nothing to support it, you become part of the problem, not the solution.
Yeah.
If you see a problem and you're constantly sitting there and you're like, blah, 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 this is a problem, this is a problem. I'm guilty of it too at times, Sometimes I feel like, something's not fair and I'll bitch about it and I'll rant and rave. But ultimately, we all got to realize, do we want to be the change we want to see?
Yeah, we have to talk about solutions instead of the problem.
And, one of my biggest things right now is that I'm trying to figure out a way to, I don't want to say attack or approach the commissioners, because ultimately when we look at it, whether it's in the motorcycle world or it's in the downtown world, what I'd love to see is a group get together in downtown. And I know they have their own there's been a different associations and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm not just talking about rebuilding downtown because it make it pretty, you know, when they had the caddies and all that. When somebody, you know, from what I understand, and I don't have fact, somebody personally benefited from it. Somebody's always going to personally benefit from something. I'd like to see a group get together that doesn't benefit, that one person benefits from it, to bring everybody together. Because, you know, ultimately, if you're willing to give away your liquor and bring a certain clientele down, if you have 10 fights in your bar, don't point the finger at somebody else. It's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, if you got it controlled, you know, I'm not against. I hire a Richmond County officer on the weekends to work my door because it resolved a lot of issues. You know, I want to see downtown prosper. I want to see people to start coming down here again because we do have a lot to offer.
Oh, yeah.
You can come down here at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, have your dinner, walk downtown, drink, have a good time, get in your car, and drive home. You know, I like to see Richmond County cops be more friendlier to the people who are paying.
Yes.
They got to be able to differentiate, you know, who's a friend and who's a foe. Mm-hmm. If somebody's up to no good and they're being completely shady and sneaky, get it. Do what you got to do. Be on cops. If that's what's going to take, do it. I don't care.
But if you see me every freaking day walking downtown with my top hat on and it's got Happy Bones on the back of it, say hey to me. I'm a staple downtown. You're a staple downtown. That's kind of what pisses me off a little bit about them. It's the bike cops. They act like they're, you know. I actually got it. I was tipsy sitting out in front of Metro, and I was like, and this guy rode by, and I'd said hey to him several times, and I'm like, hey man, how you doing? And he's just like, and I'm like, and I don't know, I snapped, and I was like, dude, you can't say hey. You can't just say hey. He's like, that's not protocol. That's not protocol. I'm like, protocol? I'm a human being, man. You see me all the time. You are supposed to be here protecting me.
Yeah.
So say hey to me, and because I mean, what happened to fucking Mayberry? You know, and where's Andy Griffith at?
Yeah,
this is bullshit.
That's true, and because I mean, you look at the big picture, and you know, a lot of the cops down there. I know one of the cops, Officer Anderson, Josh. Josh
is a good guy.
I mean,
he stops and talks to me.
We sit down there, you know, we're out there and we're in our, you know, our vests and stuff like that. He stops out there and he talks to us.
Mm-hmm. Like a person.
Oh, like a person.
Yeah.
You know, we're on a person level where, you know, we speak to each other. It's not because I'm a steel horseman and he's a cop, or I'm a business owner and he's a cop. It's because we're friends and we talk and we're like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. How's your day? Mm-hmm. How's your kids? Your kids riding? Hey, man, that's awesome. Your bike looks great. That's what it's about. That's what it should be about, you know? But there's so much segregation in what is right and what is wrong, or what people imply. And, you know, it's like your opinions. Okay, I get your opinion. I understand it. I got an opinion too. But if we can put it together and make it work, and right now, like what Matt Flynn's doing with Stillwater, you know, we're all going non-smoking. You know, some of them are not because it's just who they are. Like I said, the Firehouse, the perfect bar. I mean, Metro, 1102, look at 1102, what they've done. They transitioned the back garages to that foot something, the dancing. They're bringing, you know, kids who are 18 and above can go in there now, from what I understand. Not completely sure, but it's giving people something to do.
Yeah.
They're packing out their house. He's put lights around his building to make it safer. You know, unfortunately, first round closed down, but Metro, non-smoking, has tables around it. And, you know, the city came out on First Friday and was like, you guys can't be drinking on the curb. We're like, look, man, we're putting people on the street. We're putting people out there. You know, yes, the bars should be responsible for policing their own trash. I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I do it. I make my guys responsible for doing it. But the more people in the street, the safer it is in numbers. And that's what people don't understand. You know, if somebody's waiting around the corner and he sees 40 people, he ain't going to do anything.
Nope.
He's going to go somewhere else. You know, and that's one thing we need to stick together. The more people we get downtown, like I'm happy about Craft and Vine and Frog Hollow and all. You know, as a matter of fact, there's a spot across, you know, in Hammond's Ferry that's kind of like hidden away, Manuel's.
Yeah, I love Manuel's.
Some of the greatest food on earth over there.
It's like a little movie set over there.
Oh, yeah. You know, and it's great. And he's just right across the river. If you feel like you want to get away, go over there. You know, you got Crumbs on Central.
Yep.
Phenomenal food. You got Ray's Coastal Cafe. These are all locally owned.
Hidden gems, yeah.
Yes, they're locally owned. The people live here. When you spend your money, it comes back to our economy when they're here and they go. You know, when they go shop and stuff like that. And that's one of the things I try to do at my bar. I have my furniture built locally, my electricians, everybody does everything is locally. I buy my fruit locally. I buy my dry products locally. And I know a lot of other people are doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're trying to keep the economy going, and I wish we could get the commissioners on board to see that. Because if they realize how much support and love is for downtown, we can build this into a great freaking downtown. Look at Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Savannah's a perfect example that a downtown can work with the right people in office.
Yeah, absolutely. Less arguing and more fucking working.
Yeah.
Get things done. Man, I don't know what time it is.
I don't either, but hold on.
What time do we start? How much time were we? 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes before an hour? All right. Man, I got to have you back. Sometimes I have a guest on here and an hour's not enough. You know what I'm saying? But let people know where you can they can get in contact with you. And the loft is at
927 Broad Street.
927 Broad Street. It's an excellent venue. I love going in the loft. They have very pretty bartenders.
Everybody loves our bartenders.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Without them, I'm nothing. You know, it's a bottom line.
Well, they're so sweet. Yeah. You know, and honestly, I could say this until I'm blue in the face. You can't run a bar and be prosperous if you don't have fucking good bartenders.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm very, very fortunate. Dickie is not only my best friend in the world. He's closer to me than my own blood, my own brother.
Right.
I got one brother. Dickie's closer to me than anybody else in this world. He runs my bar like he owns it.
Right.
You know, I couldn't ask for a better person. 2, I got some of the best bartenders, because there's a lot of good bartenders out here.
Mm-hmm.
There really is. They do well. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't. Like I said, without them, I'm nothing. You know, my bar's nothing. But the greatest thing about the loft, it was built when I came down here. I knew no one but Dickie.
Right.
I made friends with Bobby and Kenny Morrison, Ryan Godowns. We become a network of friends where you'll always see us in a group, but we're in one of our bars.
Right.
And it's always locally owned. You know, occasionally, yes. Do we go to Hooters? Yes, once a year.
Yeah, we try to get a little chicken strips.
Yeah, do you see us at Bonefish drinking? No. Do you see us at Chili's drinking our Applebee's? No.
No.
TGI Fridays? No. Where do you see us? Local.
Right.
You know, that's all I can ask. Support local.
Yes.
If it's not at the Loft, there's Metro, Joe's Underground, Stillwater. I mean, Soul Bar, Firehouse.
We have an adult playground right here.
Yeah.
You got to just come downtown, man.
We're here.
And what you got coming up at the Loft anyway? You got some bands coming through?
Yeah, we got Pretty Petty coming up, and then we got one night that we got open, kind of karaoke night open. We do karaoke. Huh?
Oh, yeah. You do. I forgot to mention that. The karaoke's fun.
Yeah. You know, I built karaoke. You know, I told Dickie when I first opened the bar, we're gonna make our living off of karaoke.
Right.
He hated me for it. He did. I understand why. But you know what? It's a form of entertainment that anybody can be a star. You want to get up there? Oh, yeah, especially when you're drunk. Mm-hmm. Some people put on some shows. I'm telling you right now, people have paid great money for that kind of entertainment. You get it for free.
Uh-huh.
You know, you go up there and have 2 or 3 drinks, watch somebody get drunk, and watch them go up there. Anybody can be a star.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's fun. Is it something that you can handle every night? That's where I thank my bartenders, because they have to put up with it. But, you know, for the most part, it's awesome.
Hell yeah. All right, so Pretty Petty is going to be there. This should be out before tomorrow. So if y'all see this, go down to the Loft and check them out. Pretty Petty's fun band. Shout out to the downtown, respect downtown. Everybody come down here. You can get in touch with the SoulCast at thesoulcast@mail.com and send me suggestions for guests and people you want to see. We got a bunch of crazy stuff coming up. We're going to start having some musical guests in here and stuff like that, so I'm pretty excited. Man, Adrian, thank you so much for coming down. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Warning, you will never be the same because you were just listening to the SoulCast with Woody Wood. We'll see you next week.